3, 2, 1. Eat what you kill. Hello, HuntChef Nation. Today we're cooking coyote, and you're not going to believe the flavor that this wild canine is going to put down here today. We've got the rack that we've brined overnight in the Canadian carnivore, the hind leg that we're going to bone out. We're going to rub with the low down and dirty, wrap it in bacon, put it in the smoker. We're going to bring all this together with a spicy mac and cheese, a vegetable risotto. So you can see the knee joint here and where we took it off right at the end of the sirloin. And what we're going to do is just come right up through it, find that line right there, right along that femur bone. And we're just going to pull this bone out of here because I want a boneless coyote ham. Just around either side, underneath. Take away some of that gristle at the top with it. Right down to the bottom, same thing. Bone gone. Now, you can see on the outside, it's kind of that washed out color. That's from being in the brine overnight. And then the inside is that deep, rich red meat. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of butterfly this guy open. And we're gonna make a few more relief cuts in here before we bring the seasoning to it. Don't be afraid to trim a little bit of connective tissue out of the inside. Now this is obviously a pretty small ham, and that's why I didn't want to cure it. We're basically doing a fresh ham, an uncured ham. Just having been in the seasoning brine overnight, there was no cure salt in there. All right, looking awesome. Now it's time to get the low down and dirty sweet and smoky barbecue rub. We're gonna be really liberal all across this coyote ham, and we're gonna let this sit in while we saute some onions and garlic. We're gonna put inside, we wrap it up, and then wrap it in the bacon for the smoker. Now, what I like to do is start from the small side. So we're gonna try and get it all rolled back together, that half, and then this big half from the top of the thigh. I'm gonna have one nice seam right there, all together. So now we're gonna set this aside, we're gonna lay out our strips of bacon, and we're gonna roll it up. I'm so excited about this. So we're gonna bring one strip up at a time here, overlapped each slice by about 1/4. And I stretch that bacon out so that it's not too thick in any one place, and to give us a better coverage. Look at that little coyote bacon bomb right there, people. All right, now it's time to shake it up with some low down all over. Now we're ready to head to that smoker. We're gonna put it in there 225 degrees for about an hour and a half. We want to hit 155 degrees internal temperature and then let it rest before we carve into this bad boy. So because we're barbecuing, smoking, bacon wrapped, barbecue love rubbed that coyote hind leg, we got to make mac and cheese go along with it. But it's a super easy, kind of big kid style. First, we're gonna start with the pasta right into the water here, and then we just got our milk. Now this pan's preheated a little bit, and as soon as it starts to warm up, we've got 4 kinds of cheese. We got Munster, we got Chipotle Gouda, pepper jack, and some good old yellow sliced American that we're gonna whisk into this milk to make a really creamy, delicious mac and cheese to go with our coyote barbecue hind leg. Noodles are ready. I'm gonna kill the heat. You can see that cheese sauce just barely starting to simmer. It's gonna be so good. So we're gonna try and get most of the water off. We're not gonna rinse them or anything. We're gonna keep what starch is on them there to help us thicken that sauce. Ooh, baby. So we've got such a neat, beautiful little coyote rack. I wanted to make something really special to go with it. So we've got a super colorful and flavorful vegetable risotto we're gonna make right now. We're gonna start with some extra virgin olive oil, so the pan's not too hot. We've got onion, garlic, and some fennel. We're gonna start to sweat those guys right off the bat. Now it's time to get our peppers and our zucchini and yellow squash in. Lots of color, lots of flavor. Looking nice already. So our vegetables have softened up. We're going to go in with our arborio rice to make our risotto dish. That looks great right there. Now, what we want to do is toss, stir, whatever it takes, but we want to get some of that olive oil all around each grain of rice. It helps a lot in the cooking process, you'll find. That looks good enough to eat already almost. Now, because this is a vegetable risotto, we want the flavors of the vegetables to move forward. We're going to use some white wine. A little oaky California Chardonnay. There's an old Italian saying, I know you've heard me say it before, but those old Italian farmers say that the rice, the arborio that's in here, is born into water and dies into wine when it's cooked in a risotto. Our wine's just about all absorbed, and because it's a vegetable risotto, we want the vegetable flavors to move forward. We're just going to follow the wine with water and not a game or chicken broth. We're going to add in some sprigs of fresh thyme, and we're going to stir. The mac is about perfect. We're just about ready to kill the heat. The risotto is almost done, but it's time to sear this Coyote rack. So we're going to start off, we've got some good heat in this cast iron. We're going to start off with some canola oil because I don't want to burn the butter. So we've already brined the rack in the Canadian Carnivore overnight. So what we're going to do is sear it, and then before it's finished, we're going to hit it again with the Carnivore. Oh, yes. So there's no fat, very lean. So we've got plenty of canola oil in there to get a good sear and a good crust on it. And I can't wait till it's done. That leg's in the smoker. We're gonna go get it in a minute. Finally, we're gonna finish it off with some HuntChef all dusted up. Check our Coyote rack. Okay, time for the flip. Now we're gonna get seared up down by the bones. Got a beautiful little crown roast, a Coyote right there. Love it. Browning up nice all the way around. Now we're gonna pop it in the oven for about 7 minutes. Look at that bacon wrapped smoked Coyote leg. Look at the crust, the beautiful crust that the low down and dirty put on that bacon. We pulled it out 154 degrees. We're letting it rest and carry. We think it's going to finish about 157. I cannot wait to dive into this thing. Yeah, baby. Look at that Coyote rack. Oh. All right, we're gonna let it rest. And while it's resting, we're gonna pour off the canola oil that we used to brown it with. Now we've got a low heat on under this guy right now, but we're gonna put a bunch of red wine. And remember, this skillet just came out of a 350-degree oven. About that much. And we're gonna reduce it way down, and then we're gonna butter it out. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to get this Coyote duet dish together here. We're gonna start with the bacon wrapped, low down and dirty rubbed and smoked hind leg. Now remember, we stuffed this thing with some caramelized onions and garlic. But first, we're gonna put a big pile of this Big Kid spicy mac and cheese right here in the back. That's enough for right now. I've been waiting to cut into this thing. So we let it rest after it came out of the smoker for about a half an hour. Now this Coyote, oh, it's from right here in Southwest PA. My good buddy, Crazy Cowboy, who was so successful in his trap line this year, he's now called Coyote Cowboy, brought this thing to us, and we cooked a bunch of it on one of our Facebook live shows. We have done something really special here today, folks. Look at that guy. Now we've got some of my Stonehouse Memphis barbecue. Best barbecue this side of the galaxy. Now it's time for the risotto for our awesome looking little rack over there. We're gonna make a nice bed right down the center of the tray. Good looking veggie risotto right there, folks. Now it's time. Oh my gosh, look at that. Little Coyote chop. Now, if you remember, We seasoned it up with Canadian carnivore in the brine overnight. Now we're gonna season that cut face of those chops with it a little bit. We're about to feed our inner carnivore with this smoked bacon wrapped, low down and dirty rub coyote hind leg and this beautiful classic pan roasted coyote rack. Wild flavor, wild protein, God's gift to all of us. You're watching HuntChef on Mountaintop Outdoors. And remember, always eat what you kill. Thanks, everybody. All right, here we go. We're gonna try out the smoked hind leg first. That was really good. I'm so glad I brined it overnight in the lowdown. It's like it was made for the Memphis barbecue. Yep, there's one. You know what, we're just gonna start with the front one. A chop, a piece of that, a little bit of risotto. You haven't ever been into a lamb chop that was that tender. Wow, out of this world. We're 2 for 2, baby. Wild flavor. HuntChef, it's where it's at.